Hey guys, Dylan Allen here. Time for the weekly update. Well, I know it's technically been more than 1 week. It's been 2. I was traveling last week for the holidays, went up to Oklahoma. The week of December 16th through the 22nd. We got a little more than 4 hours of training volume in, not counting lifting. We did have a lift in there, I believe. But Monday, apparently the running gods decided I needed a day off. Like, we had gone at least 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks without a day off. There was one day we only did like a mile or something like that a couple times in there. But I hadn't had a day off. Not that that really counted either. But I was like, I'm tired. You know, we got in that 4.5 hour week the week before, the last time I talked to you guys. And like that Monday, we had torrential downpours, thunder and lightning. It wasn't safe to run outside. So I got on the bike at the gym. I started biking. And at less than 4 minutes, about 4 minutes into my ride, the fire alarm started going off. So at that point, I was tired and grumpy, and I know that was kind of the root cause of me doing this. But I was just kind of threw my hands up, and I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm not waiting around for half an hour for the alarms to stop going off, so I can get back on a stationary bike at the gym." And I just went home. So I kind of took the day as a rest day. I got a total of about 4 minutes and 50 seconds on the bike. I was not a happy camper. But on Tuesday, I kind of tweaked that SI joint on the right hip again just a little bit while I was working. I was handing a client a cable from a cable machine, so I twisted. And it was fine, but then when I let go, all of a sudden there wasn't that force pulling me this way, but I had, the muscles engaged to pull me this way so I'd be stable. And I kind of tweaked that SI joint again just a tad. So I didn't run. Instead, I spent 20 minutes on the bike, did like an easy 15 minutes, and then I kind of put the hammer down for about 5 minutes, kind of getting up to like 350-ish watts, I think. It was okay. 340 watts. And it was about like normal at the easy, 240, 250 watts while I was moving. Nothing crazy. And then the next day, I actually went and ran some 400s, and I felt okay. We did a 3-mile warm-up, and then we did 4 400s, and I wasn't trying to really kill them. And the first one I actually didn't even time, I don't think. But I timed when I did the first one and kind of stuck with everybody without it really hurting. Accelerating didn't feel so good on that first one. Like the first 100 meters felt really stiff. But then after that, it kind of settled in, to about threshold pace. So nothing crazy. But the second one we did in 84, and then I ran an 80, and then I ran a 77 on that last one. And the last one, everyone else kind of took off, and I kind of let them go. I didn't even bother to try to hang with them because that would have been dumb. But it was good. It was good getting to do some faster stuff for the first time in a month. Almost a month and a half since I had gotten sick and then gotten hurt. So yeah, it was starting to feel good. The heart rate didn't get crazy or anything, but we did it, and it felt okay. So I'm fairly happy with how that went. The next day, I was on the bike. I definitely, I was like, you know what? I ran yesterday, pretty hard. I'm a little stiff. I could tell when I was walking, when I was getting done, that it didn't hurt, but I could tell like my mechanics were a little goofy. So on Thursday, I got on the bike and I did 35 minutes easy, and then I kind of put the hammer down for about 5 minutes, about threshold effort, and then 5-minute easy cool down on the tail end. And for that threshold effort, every minute we just bump up the resistance a little bit. So at the end, we were working pretty hard. I want to say we hit like 360 watts-ish maybe by the end. So 340 watts there. And, the heart rate was about the right zone, about, 170, 175 beats per minute, which is about where we want to be for threshold work for me. We also lifted, I did some glute activation stuff with the bands while I was waiting on a bike because the gym was kind of busy that day. But it was good. It was a good little 45-minute bike. And then that Friday, I went on the 20th. I ran with a client of mine that I hadn't seen in a while, and he was just going to do an easy couple miles. He just got done with a weightlifting class, and so we were just going to go run about 4 miles, 3.5, 4 miles, and it was the first run with downhills for me since I had jacked up my hip and been sick and all that kind of stuff. And it felt okay. I was probably a little greedy on some of those downhills, but I was trying really hard to be smooth so I wouldn't be jamming the legs. I could tell the left, like, things were a little tight and a little stiff. I could feel it on the downhills. Going uphill felt okay. I wasn't trying to like crush it or anything. I was running with Dallas. We were moving like 850 pace, fairly easy. It varied, but average about 850 pace. Got to run on the Greenway a little bit on the trail. And that was the first time I'd been up there in a while. So that was kind of nice. It was just getting from the Lambright to the trail. There's some downhills by the high school. So you can check it out on Strava. You'll see what I mean. But, and then Saturday, I had one person show up to practice. A bunch of, Christmas break had started. People had fled town. All the college students had left and gone home. So I wasn't really expecting a lot of people to be there. But one of the grad students showed up. And so we kind of ran opposite directions so I could run, at a pretty reasonable clip, but then catch up with him, every half mile, 3/4 of a mile, something like that. Just staying on the asphalt around the lake. Because with the downhill run the day before, I was really hesitant to do any downhill running. I was feeling a little stiff. Left knee was a little tight, foot was a little tight. But yeah, it was good overall. Then, on Sunday, I went for an easy ride. Just an hour on the bike. For the most part, keeping it easy, but it was a full hour. And, an hour on the bike, it's been a little bit since I did that. I ran out of water at about 35 minutes. So my heart rate after that started creeping up and up and up a little bit. Because, I was on the second floor at the Lambright. It was warm, it was sunny. But I wasn't going to have access to a bike while I was in Oklahoma that I knew of. And I had run the 2 previous days, so I did the workout on a bike. But we ended up topping off. We did a little bit of a progression push at the tail end, just kind of popping it up a little bit for about 5 minutes or so, from 50 to 55, so I could have a 5-minute cool down. And we 340-ish watts for that part, I think. And according to the bike, we hit a little over more than 32 miles in that hour. So I was pretty happy with it. Felt good. I was hungry and thirsty by the time I got done. But we got it done. Now we're on the bike. Without any major chafing either, which was kind of nice. And that brings us around to this week, Christmas week. And so before leaving on Monday, I got done with work. I did an easy 15-minute warm-up on the bike, and then I did a quick lift, because I wasn't expecting to have access to anything heavy, especially I wanted to do some leg press kind of stuff. And I was pretty sure I wasn't going to have access to that in Oklahoma. So I did some leg presses and chest presses, and I did some rows, and that kind of basic. Did some deadlifts with the 45-pound bar. Nothing crazy because I didn't want to strain that SI joint, but just enough to kind of test it a little bit, see where we're at, get the glutes firing, especially before getting in the car for 6.5 hours. And so I got done working out, came home, we got in the car, and we drove to Oklahoma, which normally I wouldn't recommend, but it worked out. Then Tuesday, on the 24th, Christmas Eve, we took the kids down to the Gathering Place in Tulsa. It's this free half playground, half art installation combo kind of thing down on the riverfront. It's super cool. If you get a chance to go check it out, it's awesome. If you've ever been to the City Museum in St. Louis, it'll remind you kind of that. But it's a big playground you can go play on. And so while the kiddos were playing and moms were playing with them, I took advantage of the opportunity to go run on the riverfront because it's flat for the most part. It's paved, so I don't have to worry about the goofy left ankle. It's fairly flat, so I didn't have to worry about cranking my hip on the downhills. Then yeah, so I got a little 4.5 mile run in. We have averaged about 7:25 pace. The first mile has been a little slow, just kind of getting going, getting rolling. I mean, part of it's I had been in the car for 6.5 hours the day beforehand. But recently, with the hip being tight and the left foot being stiff, like it takes me about a mile or so before stuff is like actually moving and grooving. But it felt pretty good. You know, kind of running in Tulsa. I always forget how fast I run in Oklahoma. Because even though I was running easy, even though I was running easy, you know, the mile splits for that run were 7:30, 7:10, 7:23, 6:49. I did have a little bit of a push on the tail end. It was uphill, so I felt safe doing it. And then I got a half mile, super easy cool down, kind of running around the playground looking for folks. But, so, you know, I felt pretty good. I was moving right along. And since I hadn't been running that fast in a while, kind of like with the 400s the week before, my lower abs were actually pretty sore the next day. But yeah, so anyway, I ended up taking Christmas off, just hanging out with the family, a decent amount of extended family in town, hanging out in Oklahoma, doing the Christmas thing, and it was great. Helped cook Christmas dinner, and that was fun. And then Boxing Day, kind of a similar thing. You know, I just wasn't really doing a ton. Just pretty much just hanging out with the family, doing the family Christmas thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I was a little hesitant to go run on the roads still at that point. Just because where my mother lives in Tulsa is not flat. It's not like, you know, the hilly section of town, but it's got some gentle rollers. And they're long enough that if the downhills were going to get me, it's like a mile of downhill. And so it would be a lot of reps of jamming my hip. And so, you know, we're just kind of hanging out, doing the Christmas thing. I didn't run. But the next day, my wife and I, on that Friday, the 27th, my wife and I went over to Rogers, Arkansas in Bentonville to kind of make a, you know, kind of get date night in. Because for those of you who don't know, we're expecting kiddo number 2 this summer. And my wife is a professor, and the schedule at Tech doesn't normally line up with the schedule at the public schools where our daughter goes. And so the odds of having the stars aligned to actually get some time to ourselves before Kidorino gets here is pretty minimal. So it's kind of our last chance to do it. So we busted over to Arkansas. We went over to Crystal Bridges, the art museum, which is really cool. They got some cool stuff in there right now. If you're in the area, you should go check it out. And it's right on the Greenway. So you can go hike on the trails. They got some trails through the woods with cool art installations. It's a pretty cool place. So you go check it out. But I didn't run on the gravel trails there. I was walking with my wife. So when we got back, because you know that afternoon before we were going out for dinner, I was like, I'm going to go run now because it's daylight, and I've heard so much about the Greenway system in the Fayetteville, Bentonville area, and it is pretty cool. But I got going, and I was like, I'm going to run somewhere between 4 and 5 miles. Ended up meeting up with someone, ended up running about 6. You know, went 3 miles out, turned around, came back, and it was great. But then at about mile 4.5, I was like, man, my feet are sore. And I realized that I haven't run on concrete in I don't know how long. So, yeah, it's concrete trail, which is great. You know, it's flat, smooth. It's awesome. People ride their bikes on it. They run on it. But I haven't done a ton of running on concrete, and I was wearing my Brooks Ghosts, which, while I have more support, don't have they're not nearly as soft as my Escalantes. which is what I would normally run in on that kind of surface. I just took one pair of running shoes with me. So my feet were a little sore. So if you're going to be racing and running on roads, make sure you keep it in the mix a little bit. That's the take-home message. Because if you don't, it's going to be, one, it's going to be sore. Concrete is hard. But two, if you make a hard shift from running on soft surfaces all the time to running on concrete, it will result in injury, especially if you're a high volume runner. Now, if you're only running like, 15, 20 miles a week like I am right now, then it's less of a big deal. But if you're running 40, 50 miles a week and you're running all of it on soft surfaces, on trail, on grass, and then you go do a long run on, just you're traveling or whatever for whatever reason, and you start running on concrete, you're going to feel it. And for you marathoners out there and ultra runners, if your race is on concrete, make sure you do some training runs on concrete or asphalt, right? I notice a large difference if I do a marathon on concrete roads versus asphalt roads. Asphalt is a lot softer than concrete. So if you're going to check your race surfaces, if you're going to be racing on concrete, make sure you do some training on concrete because it will eat you up if you don't. But anyway, and the next day, in the morning, before heading home, my wife and I went to the hotel gym, got a short workout in, did a quick lift, so I actually did get 2 lifts in last week. And I also ran an easy 3 miles on the treadmill, averaged about 7:30 pace. Nothing fast, but the lower abs were sore from running on the greenway. I was running a little faster, running about 7-minute pace for a good chunk of it, which is faster than I've been running lately. And so I was using those lower abs more, engaging hip flexors more. The hip felt pretty good. I was a little stiff getting on the treadmill. That was the longest run, both in duration and distance I've done in a while. Definitely since before I got hurt. Probably since before I got sick. The last time I ran for 45 minutes was the day I hurt myself, I think. Maybe it was when I got sick. It was when I got sick, at the beginning when I got sick. So we're talking middle of November. So it's been a month and a half since I ran for 45 minutes. So I'm not surprised I was stiff afterwards. But all in all, it was good. And then Sunday, I did an easy 4.5 miles out by my mother's house in Tulsa after running on the greenway and just feeling fairly confident and how I felt the next day. I was like, you know what, I bet you I can run. I need to not be greedy, but I can do it. And I ran like 7:30 pace, just kind of trucking along. And again, it just felt amazing how easy it was to run fast out there. Now, I don't know, it's partly because it's drier. I know that's a large part of it, but you get a little bit of tailwind, picks you up, carries you along. The headwind wasn't too bad. Neither was it on the riverfront either on Monday or Tuesday rather. But yeah, so we got a total of about 2.5 hours of aerobic time in plus a couple lifts, a little more than an hour, little more than 3 hours total training volume. Definitely a down week, but that's okay. It's a week of Christmas, so there ain't gonna be a lot going on. And I didn't get to run yesterday. I will run today. It's the last day of the year. Today is December 31st. But kind of digging back through the data a little bit before I sat down to record this, and it's going to be the lowest total volume year since 2015. The last couple years I've gotten way far and above, like 2,100 miles, something like that. I think I'm at like 16 something this year. It's definitely been the year of injury. So started the year with calf spasm while training for Boston. Then we had the low volume this summer as we're trying slowly to build it back up while fighting with the heat and the UV index in Louisiana. And then this fall, getting sick for 2 weeks, cranking the ankle a bunch of times, got the SI injury. So it's been the year of injury. Sprained the left ankle several times, SI issue, calf issue. It's been a rough year in terms of training and racing. We didn't get any PRs this year, but we haven't raced a lot either. So I'm not too surprised. But I'm looking forward to 2020. It's going to be a good year. I'm not entirely sure what training is going to look like because we got a newborn. I'm not sure how much sleep I'm going to be getting. And as I tell everybody all the time, sleep is the most important performance enhancing drug there is. If you're not sleeping, you're not recovering, which means you can't train. So we'll see how it goes. They got 6 months till the kid Reno gets here, so I mean, we got 6 months of regular training. After that, I have no idea what's going to happen. I got no idea what racing schedule is going to look like this year. I am planning on running a half marathon in Minden here in about a month. Beyond that, I don't know. If I'm in shape to run the 5K or the 10K for the La Tech home track meet, I may try to do that if I'm in shape for it. But I'm kind of starting to get the hankering for some of the longer stuff again. So I have a feeling the safe thing to do, the smart thing to do, is going to be base building and kind of using it as a year of shoring up the weaknesses, getting back to foundations. And we did some of that this year. But, you know, we've got the habit now of getting into the gym at least once or twice a week, spending some time on the bikes, spending some time in the pool. So we're cross-training a little more, so that's good. Overall, like total health and wellness fitness, we're doing better, I think. And we're starting the year, for the most part, healthy, as opposed to last year where we're starting it with a calf that was in spasm. So no plantar fasciitis this year. I think we're going to do okay. I think it's going to be good. So we did not run for the ranch this year. We pulled out of that. I ended up not having any runners go to it, so we pulled out of that. But they let me defer my entry to any one of their races they're doing this year. So I may get a wild hair and bust up to the Ozarks, Southwest Missouri sometime this spring before kiddo gets here. I don't know yet. You know, because we're also kind of doing the whole, you know, getting prepped for new kiddo thing. So, yeah, I haven't really sat down to really think through 2020 yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to building the base volume back up and keeping the cross-training in the mix. It's been good for me, so we're going to keep doing it. So, till next decade, Happy New Year. Train smart, guys.